You see, the thing about history is that it doesn't always look kindly upon the past, and Apple, throughout the mid-1990s, was chastised for aimlessness and mismanagement. By licensing macOS to run on cheap third-party clone machines, they had killed the golden goose that was the Mac, and the litany of weird side projects that never materialized to anything meaningful didn't really help out either. Look, that criticism is deserved. I mean, there is a reason that the tale of Jobs' triumphant return to bail water out of the nearly sunken ship is such an often told comeback story. But just because most of what they did was aimless doesn't mean it wasn't cool, or perhaps even important. And no better example of that can be had than with the QuickTake series of digital cameras, released the same time I did, just over 30 years ago. And I've got one of them that's still in its retail packaging. Some context here is helpful. You see, the idea of digital photography dates clear back to the 1960s with NASA, but it wasn't really until the mid-1970s that a 10-pound 0.01 megapixel digital camera was invented by Kodak engineer Steven Sasson. While technologically amazing, I mean, look at this thing. It wasn't ready for prime time, and it's Sony that is often credited with creating the first digital camera, the Mavica, in 1981. But here's the thing. The Mavica wasn't actually digital at all. In fact, its very name gives away what it truly was, a magnetic video camera. Mavica.
Actually, this is the same as a video camera, television camera, but this is a recording tape. Instead of tape, we use a disc, magnetic disc. So on this disc, we can take a 50 still picture.
Instant pictures?
Instant picture.
And they're, what, transmitted through this kind of device?
Yes, this is a small viewer which can be connected to your television.
Yeah, so the Mavica was more of an analog electronic camera than a true digital camera. And it wouldn't be until 1989 that Fuji would release the DSX, the world's first truly end-to-end digital camera. There was only one problem. It cost $20,000. With inflation, that's nearly one Bitcoin. Over the next few years, more digital cameras began to hit the market using CCD sensors from Fuji and Kodak, obviously lowering the price, but not by much. They were either many, many thousands of dollars, or, on the low end, they were low resolution and black and white only. So Apple saw an opportunity to increase the Mac's market share in the creative space by offering their own camera with slick software, something that had been a pretty large pain point with other early digital cameras. And so, a partnership with Kodak led to this moment, the unveiling of the QuickTake 100 at the Tokyo Macworld in February 1994. Details of this partnership have remained a fairly large mystery for decades, until Ken Perolsky, one of Kodak's principal engineers on the QuickTake project, reflected on the experience he had just last month. According to him, effectively all of the camera's architecture engineering was done by Kodak, which, well, looking at the inventors listed on the QuickTake patents, tracks. Yep, that's Ken. And Chinon, well, they were the ones that actually manufactured the cameras in Japan. So the question becomes, well, what the heck did Apple do? Was this just a rebrand? No, not entirely. They assisted in a few key areas, the industrial design, for one, the subsequent marketing campaign, but perhaps most importantly, the price. QuickTake launched at $749, making it the first color digital camera under $1,000. And while it seems trivial now, Apple's software allowed the average Joe to put their photographs in their documents for the first time ever. So what was this thing like back in 1994, and why did it fail? Well, let's open it up to find out why. But not before we find out why the eufy S1 Pro is the best all-around robot vacuum for 2024. Let me cut to the chase. This, the always clean rolling mop, is the halo feature here. It uses separate onboard clean and dirty water reservoirs to continually wash the dirty mop and prevent secondary contamination while mopping. Furthermore, an ozone generator and surfactant solution in the dock helps give the bot the title of Best Robot Mop at any price. It seriously scrubs away almost anything. But it's not just a mop. Powerful 8,000 Pascal suction, in conjunction with the anti-tangle brush, make it the perfect vacuum warrior even for carpet. And with a dock that auto-empties, cleans, and dries, you can go weeks without even thinking about this thing. That's also thanks to its best-in-class navigation and obstacle detection, because it's got its 3D Matrix eye slam system and direct time-of-flight LiDAR. Its center-then-edge cleaning approach is one that I've not seen before, but appears to be quicker and more efficient than other competing robots. The sheer confidence it exercises in rolling around at full speed without ever slamming into anything is impressive, leaving tangled cords and floor socks at lower risk than ever before. The app is no nonsense, it allows for better granular room control than any bot I've seen to date, and the whole thing looks modern and sci-fi while remaining functional, namely being tall enough to directly interact with on screen or via voice command. Phone not required. This has replaced my 2-bot setup I've had in my home since 2020. It's now my only robot vacuum. They can't pay me to say that, it's just the truth. It's superb. A Kickstarter launches today, and you can get a 40% discount on the eufy S1 Pro with my link below. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get a QuickTake box? I've had an eBay filter set up for years. These cameras, they're a dime a dozen. You can find them everywhere. But the boxes are hard to come by. And can you blame anyone for not wanting this too? I mean, look at this. This is the early 90s and the packaging is still beautiful. Everything is nicely spaced out. You have serif font, which is hot. Can we bring back serif font? Stop doing minimalist everything. Like, cut it out. You've got this nice reflective silver text. I mean, it's just a cardboard box, but even for the mid-90s, this was a nice cardboard box. You can see on the back here, it gives us all of our specifications, and you can also see that they're really kind of trying to focus on the PhotoFlash 2.0 software. That's what made this thing compelling, right? Because other digital cameras, while expensive, did exist. This one was color, it was less expensive, and it came with the software that you could use to edit your photos on your Mac and then insert them into Word documents or whatever you wanted to create on the fly, which is really, really cool. Okay, let's open this thing up. Wow. Kinko's special savings certificates. Wow, these are really nice coupons. What the? 2 hours free digital camera rental. Bring this offer into your nearest Kinko's and receive 2 hours free Apple QuickTake 150 digital camera rental time. What? Like, it's right here. Maybe this was like for someone that didn't own it? I don't know. But that is interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. Presumably, Apple partnered with Kinko's to make these available for rent just so that people could try them out and maybe buy them. That's cool. Okay, important information about your manuals. Doubt it. Not only did they used to include manuals, they used to include paper that told you what to do with those manuals. Okay, warranty, software license. Oh, here we go. This is the good stuff. Okay, so Tiffin, that is a name that will be familiar to basically anyone that's bought mid to low grade camera accessories over the last 30 however many years. Okay, this is really interesting. I didn't even know this was a thing. There are a bunch of QuickTake 100 and QuickTake 150 specific accessories by Tiffin. So you've got conversion lenses to increase, and they even show you what the end result will be. They've got filters, they've got, you know, generic tripods and stuff, but this is cool. It allows you to adapt lenses to the QuickTake series of camera. And here it is, the camera itself. Yeah, this thing is not new, but it is in really, really, really good shape. I mean, it's got some dust on it, but this thing's in really good shape. Like, maybe someone bought it, took a few pictures and said, nah, this thing sucks, I'm going back to film. Because that's what it looks like to me. You've also got this little pouch here. This thing is bizarro, okay? I had this on one of the other QuickTake models I had. This is a flash diffuser, which is nice. It makes it less harsh and everything. It's got a little slight magnification on the camera side, which is interesting. And then they've got this little terrible, awful little thing that shows little 2 alignment markers, and then it's got a bunch of little vertical slits on it. And they say that it is an image viewfinder enhancer. I don't know what it enhances because it looks absolutely awful. We can put it on our camera lens maybe and show you what it looks like before and after. But yeah, this thing, you know, the diffuser's nice, but other than that, this thing sucks. Okay, you can see that it's actually quite a handsome device, and it's really, in Apple fashion, super, super easily powered on. All you have to do is uncover the lens. So as soon as you slide this over, it's turned on, which is super, super neat. The flagship feature of this camera, as opposed to other digital cameras of the era, and one that made Kodak a lot of money for many years to come via licensing, was this user-selectable image record size. Right now we can take 11 photos, but if we push that button, we can now take 22. That's right. You could choose at what resolution to write photos to the memory on this camera. So you could take 8 high-res photos on the original QuickTake 100 and 32 standard resolution on the QuickTake 100. And then when the QuickTake 150 came around, the only difference, the hardware was all the same. All they did was improve the compression algorithm. And so you were able to store 16 high-resolution photos on the QuickTake 150 and then 32 standard resolution. And so you can see that we've taken 5 high-resolution photos, and that's why we have 11 photos remaining. Now, the resolution of those photos themselves were pretty good. The high-res photos were 640 by 480 or 0.3 megapixels, and the low-resolution photos were quite a bit lower at 320 by 240. So that would have been 0.08 megapixels. Not great. Okay, let's talk about how this thing works. What's inside? Well, we've got 1 megabyte of flash memory for starters. There's no memory cards. There's no expandable memory. 1 megabyte, that's all you get. And so you can hold 32 or 16 photos or a combination of both. And then once you're out of memory, you need a computer. Otherwise, you ain't got nothing. There are a few other buttons up here that allow you to perform other specific functions. You can turn the flash to auto. You can turn the flash to on, the flash to off. There is a countdown timer that you can select. And then this little tiny itsy bitsy button. Don't push this. If you push this, it completely erases the internal memory. You luckily have to have a pin to access it, but if you threw this in a bag haphazardly, a key could maybe delete your whole vacation. So be careful with that. Okay, let's see what we've got on the side. All right, pretty simple. That is a really, really nice door. I mean, look at this thing. When I slide this over, it like lowers and hides itself away. Apple design, man. It's so good. Okay, so we've got DC power in if you wanted to use this on a tripod in a studio. You've even got a little tripod mount down there, which is kind of interesting. And then this connector looks like S-Video, but if you're a Mac user, you know that it's not. This is ADB, the Apple Display Bus. ADB was similar to like PS2 that you had on the IBM PC side. It was a precursor to USB to help for data transfer between peripherals. And so Apple keyboards and mice and other devices used ADB. But this did work on Windows. The QuickTake 100 and 150 did work on Windows. Ironically, the last generation QuickTake 200 was macOS only. But the QuickTake 100 and 150 could work with the PC using a connection converter kit that you could buy separately. And it would connect, I believe, to Serial on the PC side. Okay, so other than the port selection, we've got some AA batteries over here. It burns through these batteries like crazy, particularly so if you leave the flash on and if you leave the flash in auto mode, because it will almost always, even outside, be like, yeah, we need more light, use the flash, and it just sucks through these things. Okay, so let's talk about the actual imaging sensor. It was a pretty big deal when it came out. It was the M7 full frame progressive sensor. It was about the same size as a modern APS-C sensor, so quite large. It was a CCD sensor, and when produced, was the highest volume Kodak sensor that had ever been made, which is pretty amazing. It had 390,000 total pixels, which is a really high resolution and a 3:2 aspect ratio. What's weird though, is that the QuickTake didn't take advantage of all those pixels. It used less than 310,000 pixels for its high-res VGA 0.3 megapixel photos. Why not use the whole sensor? It came down to storage limitations and probably memory buffer. They just didn't have the ability to use every pixel. Kind of a bummer. And well, yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess the question is, does it take good photos? I don't know. Let's find out. Two photos in, I'm already 15% of the way through my memory. Well, I'm 7 shots in, and my batteries are already said to be almost dead. So let's swap them out, shall we? Oh yeah, that's really great design. Back in business, baby. Check it, 17 photos, 15 high resolution, 2 lower resolution, and about half of what you could fit on a standard 35mm film roll. Not great. Okay, we're back. So let's take a look at the pictures we just took. I have plugged the QuickTake 150 via not ADB, but the AppleTalk port, to this machine, the Macintosh Color Classic. This was released in 1993 and is period correct, something you would have used 30 years ago to get photos off of your camera. I have also already installed all of the QuickTake software, not just PhotoFlash, the editing software, but also the helper files that help you mount the actual camera to the computer. This is not easy at all if they don't come with the box that you purchased the QuickTake with. And I didn't spend 3 days of my life trying to figure out how to do it on modern computers, which despite everyone saying it was possible, it's not actually possible because it's a special type of System 7 software with a special type of DRM that's not able to write in and out on a modern computer, especially not Apple Silicon, but not even Intel computers, definitely not on PCs, as people would suggest you might be able to do with Windows. And you'll actually have to go back, find an old PowerBook G4 you have on a shelf somewhere, boot it into macOS 9 Classic, and then install it. And then I've got one regular floppy. This is just DOS formatted. I'm gonna pop this in because while writing disks to System 7 is impossible with modern computers, DOS floppies mount perfectly, and not just Windows, but also in Mac OS. And so we will drag the photos from the desktop or from this computer over to that so that we can now see them and show them. But how the heck do we even get them off of this thing? Well, you just turn the camera on while it's plugged in, and you'll see there's a little snake icon on the display that indicates that it is connected to the machine. But it's not mounted to the desktop, so what do? Well, this is 30 years ago and USB doesn't exist, you stupid idiot. So you have to go to the Apple menu. I'm calling myself a stupid idiot. It took me a hot minute to figure this out. Then you go to Control Panels, you scroll down, and you find QuickTake Image Access. You let go of the mouse, and a window opens saying, hey, would you like to connect to camera? And you say, yes. This is going to mount the camera on the desktop, and it's also going to build little thumbnail icons of all of the images that are actually on the device. But that's not the only thing that this little settings menu can do. If you have multiple QuickTake cameras, you can choose a string name for each camera, and then you can also even set the camera's internal clock using the internal clock on your Mac, which means you can have a date and time in metadata on your photo, which is super cool. And it also names the file, the date and time that the picture was taken, which is pretty handy. You can choose to whether or not to let the camera sleep if you don't want the AA batteries to die, which they will after not too long. And there you go. We have our QuickTake 150 mounted right here to the desktop. If I double click it, a folder opens with a bunch of images. It tells us the date that they were taken, and that's it. We're done. We can drag these to our floppy and be on our way, but not quite yet, because these are using a .pict container, but the photos are actually .qtk, I believe. It's a QuickTake format. You can convert them with modern software, but it's a pain in the hiney, and I would really like to show you what the software would have been like 30 years ago. So we're gonna open up Macintosh hard drive. I have this QuickTake folder that I admit I've already taken a couple pictures because I wanted to make sure this worked before. So I'm gonna open up this QuickTake 150 folder. I'm gonna select all the pictures by doing Command A. Hey, that still works. And I'm gonna drag them over. And then this prompt should come up saying speed copy. Oh yeah, preparing to copy 17 items. It's almost 1 megabyte, 979 kilobytes. So they're not lying. And frankly, with formatting, that's like better than modern drives, honestly. Like you buy a 1 terabyte drive and you get like 930 gigs maybe. This gives us 980K. And check it out, this is pretty fast. Because it's using the modem AppleTalk port, it is faster to copy than you would think. 68K modems are not crazy fast, but they can transfer 1 megabyte pretty okay. Okay, 15 items, 16 items, 17 items, done. Okay, let's take a little bit of load off of the computer by turning the QuickTake off. I am going to do that once it finishes individually dragging all of these over. Like, what is happening? Okay, turn this off. And then we are going to go to PhotoFlash for QuickTake. Once we open this folder, there's a README and, of course, PhotoFlash, the application. So we're going to open that up, and very, very quickly, I might add, it's going to launch. Computers have come so far. So you guys read any good books lately or something? Oh, that's cool. Me too. You guys ever heard of Lord of the Rings? I've never read them. Harry Potter's pretty good though, I'm told. Haven't read that either. What does life even mean? Why are we here? What are we doing? We should just leave this whole thing in. Oh my goodness. Come on, buddy. What do these buttons do? That's brightness. That's volume.
One eternity later.
You flash the photos before your eyes. It's kind of cool how you can see the whole window load. It's like, oh, this is good. My little menu bar. Hey, we're seeing UI elements. Oh, that was fast. That was fast. Wow. We are in the mainframe. Okay, so I'm going to go to open because I want to open an existing file. And I'm going to go to my Macintosh hard drive. I'm going to open the QuickTake folder, and I'm going to select one of the photos that I took today. Image 15. Let's open it up, and up. Here we go. Reading the picked format. This is quick. This is fast. Better than AirDrop. It's still faster than an Android phone. Just kidding. Wow, okay, I lied. It's not fast. It was a joke progress bar. You know how it does like the first 80% like really fast and you're like, oh, this is gonna be quick. And then the last 5% takes forever? Yeah, well, it's good to know progress bars always sucked. Got him. All right, open it up. And check it out. Wow. Okay, so it is currently viewed at a pixel perfect readout, which on this display is way bigger. So I'm going to go into Window, and I'm going to say zoom out or zoom. I think it's Command, yeah, F to fit it to Window. And there you go. That's the whole image. You'll notice, uh-oh, it's sideways. So I can go to this little rotate tool right here, click it, and then rotate the image somehow. I don't know how to use this. This is like Photoshop. Rotate. Do I have to select that? No. Oh, I do? What? Okay, so we're gonna rotate this 90 degrees. You have to select it, and then once you've selected it shoddily, it's like, oh yeah, sure, we can help you rotate. That doesn't make any sense. Rotating images is pretty advanced. Oh my gosh, are you for real? This is so slow. Wow. Computers. What the frick? It didn't even rotate. What if I go to the menu bar? Let's try this. Image. Rotate. Rotate 90 degrees to the left. What? Couldn't complete the last command because the virtual memory manager does not have enough disk space to perform this operation? I have the RAM doubler too, and I have plenty of hard drive space. Well, can I not do anything? Because let's rotate it 180. That's easier. Nope, can't do it. What the heck? Come on. Let's try something easier, okay? Let's do like brightness and contrast. This is a little on the darker side. It'd be nice to have a little bit of contrast. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, it shows you a little before and after. I gotta move the window up. The window's bigger than my screen. Okay, let's do like, make it a little bit brighter. Hey, look at that. It did it. I don't know if you saw, but it does, surely enough, lighten up some of those shadows. Okay, that's cool. And then presumably you press enhance and it says error. But when things are working like they're supposed to, it wouldn't. One other thing I want to show you though that's really cool is in this script menu, you can run Apple scripts to automate batch handling a bunch of different files or photos, which is pretty cool. So if I go in here, and by the way, like computers are crazy. So if I move this window out of the way and I go into scripts, you can just see that these are literal Apple scripts. I can edit these in the script editor inside of macOS, right? So there's no secret, there's no magic. It's just running an Apple script that's inside a folder. And so those scripts are, I can append a caption. That's kind of fun. Let's try it. Uh-oh. Maybe? Maybe? Aha! Okay. Wow. The default caption is fence from liquor store. We did take it across the street from the liquor store. Holy crap, does this thing have machine learning? I can make a new catalog. I can auto straighten, which is pretty cool. That just takes a line that should be straight and goes, so if you took your camera and took it a little bit of an angle, it'll course correct for that. That's pretty cool. I can also place images inside of applications from within macOS. Also, printers. This was the big attraction for these photos, right? Their whole pitch in that commercial is, hey, you take pictures, you can add them to your documents, and then you print them out using laser writers. Well, you could do that by preparing for a laser printer right here from within the application. That is pretty cool indeed. Well, that's nice, but we need to just get these things off of here. So I'm going to go down to export, and I have a couple of options. I can export it as a TIFF or a TIFF, and then I can also save as a JPEG or EPS file, which is like a vector image format, I think, with Adobe Illustrator. Maybe you can do full images like that. I don't know. JPEG is probably the most file like size conscious, but it's going to look like butt because this is 30 years old. So I'm going to export as TIFFs, probably one by one via floppy. And so hang on. And now let's look at the results. And they look pretty crappy. Look, this thing is 30 years old, okay? Of course they're not gonna look amazing. You can tell I'm taking a picture of the same thing, even if the detail compared to an iPhone and certainly compared to a real camera pales in comparison. But that's not what this thing was about. This wasn't trying to compete with film cameras because film cameras, even cheap ones, had effectively unlimited resolution. I mean, you put this next to a 35mm photo and it's no comparison. It wouldn't be until fairly recently, like in the last decade and a half, that digital cameras could compare. And so this was never about fidelity, it was about convenience. You could take a photo and within minutes have it on your computer inside of a document printed on your printer. And that is pretty cool. And that set the precedent for photography today. I mean, when was the last time you took out a camera like I did and went on the street and some people do it, but you're weird. Most people are just taking pictures through their phone. And yeah, they're not the best photos we've ever seen, but they're getting better and better every year. We can edit them on the fly and share them no matter where on the planet we are with the whole entire world within like minutes, seconds. That is so cool. And that all kind of started in some ways with the QuickTake. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, stay snazzy.